This week on The Splash, we explore pieces of Michigan's history. Then the West Bloomfield Fire Department helps residents prevent emergencies. And later, we get an update on the Orchard Lake Road construction. The Splash is a production of Civic Center TV. We're a news magazine that covers everything from local news to feature stories, all so that we can bring you the latest from the Greater West Bloomfield area. And now, let's dive into The Splash. Welcome to The Splash. I'm your host, Sheena Monnin, and as always, thank you for joining us. Michigan hasn't always been the bustling state that it is today. It once was a vast area of heavy woodlands. Splash reporter Katrina Carson went to the Orchard Lake Museum recently to uncover some of the tools that helped turn those woodlands into our area today.
I'm here at the Orchard Lake Museum at the Michigan Logging Open House, where we'll learn about the different logging equipment and the history of logging in West Bloomfield. Let's check it out.
I've found a lot of old logging stuff. This year we're doing kind of a venue on Michigan logging. All the stuff we've got on the table here we'll explain and give you a little idea how they did things back in the early days.
Residents had the opportunity to get a full presentation on the various tools used in the logging industry. One by one, Jim explained the significance of each object and how it was made and used.
Once you had your section, you would have to bring in guys called swampers to cut a road in. Incidentally, in the early days, you had to be near a river. A lot of stands of good timber were left for the later years because there was no way to move them.
Logging was one of the first industries in Michigan, long before the auto industry. Logging definitely had a strong influence on Greater West Bloomfield today.
Just celebrating an industry that made Michigan the state it is long before the automobile. There was also logging as well as copper mining and iron ore that were the first industries of Michigan.
Michigan became the ultimate summer vacation spot and housing unit for many of the workers. The famous David Ward and his family settled specifically here in the Greater West Bloomfield area.
Well, mostly that they were the West Bloomfield and the Orchard Lake area became summer places and permanent housing for lumber barons like David Ward. And they settled in this area and enjoyed the riches of the lakes.
Many logging workers purchased land and have passed down not only their homes, but a legacy that will continue for years and years. Logging has an extensive history in the state of Michigan and has had a big influence on the development of Greater West Bloomfield. This is Katrina Carson reporting from The Splash.
That's really interesting, Katrina. It's great to see some great pieces of history right here in Greater West Bloomfield. For more information on the history of logging in Michigan, you can visit civiccentertv.com/logging. The West Bloomfield Fire Department is one of the many emergency service organizations that Greater West Bloomfield relies on to keep the area safe. But what they do goes well beyond fighting fires. Splash reporter Tyler Kieft has the story.
When you think about a fire department, you may consider groups of people in uniform rushing into a burning building or putting out an inferno. But the West Bloomfield Fire Department goes beyond the basics of firefighting to serve the community, focusing much of their energy on community outreach and preventative education.
Fire is only about 2% of what we do as firefighters. So the word fire department is kind of an old word that maybe needs to be updated in the real scheme of things, because it's the little part of what we do. We participate in a ton of community events at different synagogues and churches throughout the community. We'll be at the hospital for their preparathon and for their meetings. We hold a summit with the nursing homes.
West Bloomfield firefighters take pride in building relationships with the people that they serve and use those bonds to educate us on how we can prevent fires. Some would even argue that it is the most important part of what they do.
It's extremely important. We don't do a lot. We don't fight a lot of fires in West Bloomfield. I don't have an exact number for you, but we don't fight a lot of fires, and we help them realize that if there is a fire, that with the smoke alarm, getting out and going, getting out of the fire, and give them information of saying, get out of the fire, go to a place that's safe.
One of the biggest things we do in reaching out is a program that we have here, which is our fire safety smokehouse. We've got a dedicated crew of guys that put a ton of time, and usually time on their days off, to come in and go to the schools and get through. We try to get through the entire third grade. We try to work with some of the churches in the area and community groups and the synagogues and get out as much as we can.
As a result, the community forms bonds with the brave men and women who dedicate their lives to protecting them.
If we're in the neighborhoods on a call and there's an emergency, they see those guys that they deal with at the school and that they see at their community events. And then they feel a little more comfortable coming up to us and talking to us and know that that's kind of, there's a relationship there rather than just some unknown group of guys coming in.
If we're out in the community, we will talk to people all the time. People come up when we do our own shopping and our own cooking, and people come up and just ask us what we're cooking, how we're cooking it, what we're having for dinner, and we just open a line of communication that way. And then we go to a scene. If we go to an emergency scene, we try very hard not to be rude. We try very hard not to be domineering. We try very hard to let the family know that we still care about our patients. We still care about the fire scene. We still care about their children. We work very hard to keep that open line of communication. And I believe with doing that it does build some trust.
It's through strong relationships and a commitment to education and outreach that the West Bloomfield Fire Department protects Greater West Bloomfield. And that is its strongest pride. Reporting for The Splash, I'm Tyler Kieft.
And for more information on how you can reach out to the West Bloomfield Fire Department, visit civiccentertv.com/firefighters. Still to come, we give you the latest information on the construction on Orchard Lake Road, and later we hear from some more residents of Greater West Bloomfield on Sidewalk Talk.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV. And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm your host, Sheena Monnin. We now move on to this week's Splash Traffic Update. We sent reporter Samana Sheikh into town to speak with local officials and residents on the current status of the construction on Orchard Lake Road.
Reporting for The Splash, this is Samana Sheikh. This week, for your latest construction and traffic update on Orchard Lake Road, I interviewed Craig Bryson from Road Commission of Oakland County, as well as a business nearby and a resident nearby. Let's take a look.
Right now, we're in the process of installing the storm sewers. We're also putting in, which is on the east side of the road, we're also putting in what's called the clay grade. That's the base level that goes below the gravel, that goes below the concrete of the road. So it's the very sub-base of the road. We're in the process of installing that on the east side of the road right now.
Sewer installations are very important in a construction project this large, especially to keep the community clean. With the progress of this road and the one lane open in each direction and a continuous center left turn lane, local businesses such as Bell Tire has had a positive view on the newest updates about the construction.
With the gutter installations, I do believe that altogether it can increase traffic flow, because once the weather gets kind of heavy, because out here we have a lot of road, so the roads can be heavily affected by rain and snow melting during the winter seasons, and keeping more water off of the roads can increase traffic flow and help customers and other people around the civilized area drive around at more normal speeds.
Although this business is excited about the overall Orchard Lake construction, Bell Tire has been impacted by this project.
This month, prior to last month, we have a shortage of about 250 customers, but throughout the year, that number can rise or heighten, and it should be perfectly fine. Customers should find their way here. It does get backed up just a little bit, but having the one lane open can keep customers going in one continuous direction, so throughout the day, it does tend to pan out.
A good base is required in order to keep roads in good shape, especially with this Orchard Lake construction project.
After the clay grade is done, then we start to put down the aggregate, which is the gravel that goes down on top of that and below the concrete. So that'll be the next step, and they'll finish up the storm sewers.
Residents nearby are content with the plan of Orchard Lake so far and cannot wait to see the end results.
Trusting that the long-range plan is going to turn out to work well. When they did the initial part, which was the 2 lanes turning left from Maple onto Orchard, I thought that was designed very well, and that flowed really well until the start of this construction. So I think, the planning, I think, is being carefully thought about and well done, and I'm just going to trust that it's going to turn out well and use Plan B in the meantime.
Reporting for The Splash, this is Samana Sheik.
Thanks, Samana. And if you'd like to stay up to date on all the latest traffic reports within West Bloomfield, you can visit wbtownship.org and click on the Road Construction Updates tab on their homepage. Now it's time for another episode of Sidewalk Talk. I went out on the streets of Greater West Bloomfield to talk to residents about some of their athletic triumphs. Hi, this is Sheena Monnin, host of Sidewalk Talk. Child sports prodigies. Do you think we've ever had any in the West Bloomfield area? Well, we asked the question. Is there a sport or game that you played that if you had applied yourself, you could have maybe even gone professional with it?
Maybe basketball. I was playing basketball at school, and I was the tallest girl at elementary school. But after 6th grade, when I came back to school, I was the shortest one. Then my sport career was finished, unfortunately. But
I gotta believe that was football. Yep, I played for my high school for a couple years, and then I decided that partying was more important. So my football career went down the tubes after that.
You know what? I was really into cheerleading, and I think I could have maybe, if I went away to college, that's something that I could have done.
Ping pong. When I was young, I was an avid ping pong player. I played in tournaments, and I still play from time to time, even though I don't have the same energy level. But yes, I enjoyed ping pong very much, and perhaps could have played semi-professionally.
Soccer. I love to kick stuff. It was my real joy when I could kick.
Tennis or water skiing? Love them. Love those two sports.
I could have been a pro football punter. I was wonderful. I played intramural football in 7th grade. That was the last time I played organized football, but I was a wonderful punter. I could have been a pro football punter.
Is there a sport or game that you played that if you had applied yourself, you could have maybe even gone professional with it?
Absolutely not. I'm terrible at sports. Love watching them, not good at playing them. So.
Dressage. I'm a horse person, but it's a lot of time, so I probably wouldn't have been famous, but I would have been competitive.
Volleyball. I really love to play. I don't know that I ever, did it that seriously, but I still love to play it whenever I get a chance.
Back in elementary and junior high, I was an ice skater. So I did figure skating. I did some competitiveness in that. I probably if I would have applied myself, I think I would have gone further for sure. At least national championships and stuff. I don't know about Olympics, but
I think if I'd stuck to bowling, I don't know if I could have been the next Earl Anthony. But I think if I'd stuck to bowling, I've got kind of an unconventional style. I'm no Fred Flintstone, but The way I throw the ball is something to behold, although I think if I'd gotten it down, I probably think I could have made a career out of it.
Oh, baseball. Absolutely. I was a high school baseball player, almost played at MSU when I was a student there a couple years ago, and loved the game. Baseball's been very, very good to me.
Thanks to everyone for joining us on this episode of Sidewalk Talk. As someone who's not very sporty myself, I really appreciate all the talent that we just saw. And if you'd like to see some of our other fun and interesting questions on the show, you can do so anytime and anywhere by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/Sidewalk Talk. And now it's time for our Civic Center event update, where we provide you with all the latest that's happening around Greater West Bloomfield. And if you'd like to stay up to date on all the following current events yourself, you can visit civiccentertv.com/events. Let's get started. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is currently holding a national health survey in Oakland County through August 26th, where randomly selected residents can participate in the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. The data collected helps lawmakers and physicians develop public health policies and expand health knowledge on a national level. Each person may represent up to 65,000 people of similar age, race, ethnicity, and gender. Participants are compensated for their time and will receive a free health and nutrition evaluation. For more information, please visit cdc.gov/nhanes. On July 29th at 10 a.m., join English Gardens in West Bloomfield for Attracting Butterflies and Hummingbirds. Create a beautiful and colorful landscape that draws in butterflies and hummingbirds. Experts from English Gardens will share their tips on the variety of plants that attract these creatures. This is a free seminar. Get a taste of Italy as Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital continues its DK Kids series. Passport to Italy teaches kids how to cook culinary classics such as ravioli, while also focusing on how to incorporate fresh produce into traditional Italian dishes. Reserve your spot for this July 29th class for $25. This class is for children ages 6 to 12. Sing, dance, and have fun with the West Bloomfield Library on August 2nd when The Music Lady visits the Youth Activities Center at 11 a.m. Specializing in children and family concerts, The Music Lady uses her boundless energy and interactive performance to bring everyone to a dancing frenzy and a lot of smiles. This event is free and no registration is required. Groove to the sounds of Motown and Top 40 band Persuasion at another installment of the Marshbank Music Series on August 2nd at 7 p.m. at Marshbank Park. Bring a blanket or a lawn chair and join West Bloomfield Parks for a night of fun and some great music. The concert is free and food will be available for purchase from the Optimist Club of West Bloomfield. The West Bloomfield Library is going batty on August 3rd at 2 p.m. Learn why bats are such wonderful animals and how they are vitally important to the environment and ourselves. You will have a chance to meet bats from around the world, including the same species that Stelluna was based on. All ages are welcome to join. The presentation is free and no registration is required. Make Roosevelt Elementary your summer meetup and eat-up site with your friends. Breakfast and lunch are served for free for kids up to 18 years old, and no registration is required. Breakfast is served from 9 to 9:30 a.m. and lunch from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. This event runs now through August 4th. Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital is cooking up a Mexican fiesta with the kids on August 5th from 10 a.m. to noon. Whether it's topping tacos, quesadillas, or nachos, this event has something tasty for everyone to enjoy. This class is for kids ages 6 to 12. Registration is required and admission costs $25 per child. Does your child have what it takes to survive in the great outdoors? On August 7th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., West Bloomfield Parks will teach basic survival skills, such as shelter building and gathering food from wild edibles. A Camp General waiver is required. For more information and to register, call 248-451-1900. Join the West Bloomfield Library for Operation Filtration. Water is a precious and limited resource on Earth. The West Bloomfield Library would like your help to engineer a sustainable filtration device to clean water and make it safe for everyone. Kids ages 6 to 12 need to register for this free event that will take place on August 8th. You may choose to participate at 1, 2, or 3 p.m. On August 8th at noon, drop in at Henry Ford West Bloomfield Hospital to gain an appreciation of diverse, quality, world-class status art pieces from the Detroit Institute of Arts. DIA docents will be on site to help you explore these magnificent works of art at your own leisure. The event is free of charge and no registration is required. The Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission wants to talk to you. The Commission would like to hear about your interests, needs, and concerns so that they can better serve you. On August 10th at 6:30 p.m., join them at West Bloomfield Town Hall for lively conversation, tasty food, and a chance to win one of many gift cards. No registration is required to attend. And that's all for now. However, if you're looking to find even more events going on in your neighborhood, then be sure to follow us at civiccentertv.com/events and look up our events calendar or watch us here for more information on everything going on in the Greater West Bloomfield area. As we head into the break, stay tuned because afterwards I'll be talking with American Sign Language interpreter and founder of ASL Defined, Paul Fugate.
Don't go away. You're watching The Splash on Civic Center TV. And now, back to The Splash on Civic Center TV.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm Sheena Monnin, and my guest on the show this week is Paul Fugate, an American Sign Language interpreter and the founder of ASLDefined.com. Hi, Paul. Thanks so much for being with us here today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Appreciate your time. It's a really interesting topic, and it's one that influences us as a society a lot more than we realize. But before we get there, can you tell us a little bit about how you became involved with the deaf and hard of hearing community?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was 13, I worked at Miller's Big Red and Romeo. And I'd pass this gentleman, a young man, and I would say, hi, 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 and never said anything. And I thought, what's the deal? I talked to Sue Miller. I said, Sue, I'm having a problem here. Like, this guy would pass me, and I would say hi. He never responded. And I was 13 at the time. He said, Paul, he's deaf. He can't hear. And that got me started.
Interesting. Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, it says here, one of the statistics that I found is about 5% of the world's population is either defined as deaf or hard of hearing. But there are a lot of terms that are used to define people who have a hard time hearing. Can you tell us a little bit about what might be appropriate versus inappropriate when it comes to how we are communicating?
Sure, absolutely. A long time ago, we're talking like years ago, people would say, oh, deaf and dumb. Not meaning that they're dumb, but they just can't speak. And then later on it became hard of hearing and hearing impaired, but the term is just simply deaf. Now some deaf people some people who are hard of hearing may say, I prefer to be called hard of hearing. But hearing impaired is out, deaf and dumb, nope. Just deaf or hard of hearing if they prefer, but mostly deaf.
Okay. Now, for those of us who know someone who is deaf, how can we better communicate with them?
Sure. I think one is just taking the time. And you can either, text back and forth, you can be on a computer texting, you can write notes, and you can learn some simple signs. So all those methods would be wonderful. Some deaf people can lip read, but that's kind of like a misnomer. We assume that, they all could lip read. And it's not true. The English language is hard to read on the lips. Like, for example, 9 and died, or I love you, and there's another one, but it's hard to lip read. So, but I would say texting, writing back and forth, some gestures, and maybe learning a little bit of sign.
Okay. And you make it sound so easy, but I bet it is a little challenging to get into it at first, for sure.
It is, but it's a fascinating language and community. And the experience that I had when I was 13 with Leo, that triggered something, that just like, what, I want to help the deaf community. I want to be here. I want to make a difference. I want to do what I can. So yeah, it's awesome. It's the best community of all.
Tell us a little bit about ASL Defined. What is that? Yeah,
ASL Defined started when I was in Bloomfield Hills Schools as a teacher for the deaf. And, I have it's a sad story. I was conducting an IEP, which is Individualized Educational Plan for a student. Mom walked in, the student's there. I had no interpreter. I thought I could just sign for myself. And this is middle school. And the one student said, Mom, I want you to learn how to sign. And the mom said, the student's name said, I don't have time to learn how to sign. Sorry, too bad. And I thought, whoa. So I started ASL Defined, which is an online educational program. And my thinking was, if the student could actually sit down with the parent and teach them the signs in the lesson, they could build a rapport, the parents learn how to sign, and then they can communicate.
That sounds brilliant. I love that. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's used all over the world. Even though ASL is not an international language, schools in Japan use it as a foreign language to their curriculum. England, Canada, and all over. So it's pretty amazing. And it has grown and has changed and developed. And I get feedback like, thank you so much for doing this. Now I have a rapport, or I have a communication with my son or daughter, or hey, my uncle was deaf, and now I can talk to him. So it's pretty neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there some resources in or around West Bloomfield Township that people can go to for topics like this?
Absolutely. One's called DeafCan. It's Community Advocacy Network, and they're in Sylvan Lake, which is actually not too far from here. They provide interpreting services, counseling services, support services for hearing and deaf. I've been working with them for 26 years. They're amazing. Marcy Colton is the director. Phenomenal.
Great, awesome, thank you. Well, we really appreciate you being with us here today and appreciate your time. And once again, everyone, Paul Fugate from ASL Defined. Now let's head over to another of our recurring segments called Parenting on the Go, where I sat down with Erica Som and Hannah Cassis to discuss suicide prevention. Hello and welcome to Parenting on the Go. I'm Sheena Monnin, and joining me this episode is Hannah Cassis, a public health educator and chair for Oakland County's Youth Suicide Prevention Task Force, and Erica Som, the Senior Director for Family Life and Wellness Services at the Jewish Family Service of Metro Detroit. Welcome back, ladies, and thank you for joining us again to talk a little bit more about such an important topic. From what I understand, some new information has been uncovered since the last time you were on the show. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so suicide prevention efforts tend to focus on why someone attempts or completes suicide. And what we're discovering more clearly is that the way that they attempt and complete is really important in terms of whether or not someone lives or dies. So Hannah and I wanted to talk about means restriction.
Yeah, and so means restriction really is all about limiting the choice and the accessibility of lethal means such as guns and prescription drugs. We know that when we limit that access and that choice, that we can save lives.
Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense to me. Thank you for sharing that. What are some of the key steps that parents can take to actually secure lethal means inside their home?
So the two most important lethal means that parents can help reduce is firearms and medications. And so with firearms, that really means remove it from the home, whether that be to give it to a family member, relative, local police department, or ensuring that it's locked up. So at least the ammunition is removed from the home and that the gun itself then is locked up. And medications also need to be locked up and limited, meaning keep limited supply on hand of what needs to be in the home, and you can contact your poison control to figure out what that safe amount might be, and then to limit what's in the home, including your home, family members, and frequent people that your youth might visit.
Yeah, that's a great point as well. Youth can go a lot of different places to obtain something like this that we want to restrict from them for sure. Can you tell me a little bit about what Oakland County Youth Suicide Prevention Task Force is doing to help to promote means restriction?
Yeah, so the task force has partnered with Oakland County Board of Commissioners on their Lock It Up Oakland campaign. We've been able to purchase small gun lock boxes to distribute at sites at no cost to residents. So residents can get a full list on our website. The Lock It Up Oakland campaign really focuses on gun safety, and we've been able to add that message of suicide prevention and means restriction into the campaign, which is so important.
No, that's excellent. Wonderful. What type of additional education is available specifically to West Bloomfield community members?
So there's several organizations, including Jewish Family Service, that offer community offerings, such as mental health first aid, Safe Talk, Assist, and these are all programs that are evidence-based that address certain aspects of mental illness as well as suicide prevention. And you can contact the West Bloomfield Youth Assistance for more information.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing such an important topic today, and I'm sure it'll be very powerful to impact some of the lives of those who are watching. And thank you all for joining us on this episode of Parenting on the Go. And remember, if you'd like to look up more helpful parenting tips, then go check out West Bloomfield Youth Assistance's website at wbyouth.assistance.org. Take care. It was truly an enlightening conversation. For more information, please visit civiccentertv.com/parenting2go. And now it's time for our final segment on The Splash, called Person of the Week, where we recognize those within the community who are either inspiring or providing toward others. And this week's recipient is Michael Patton, West Bloomfield's Chief of Police. For over 30 years, Chief Michael Patton has served the community that he calls home. Chief Patton took over as police chief in 2010, having previously served as a patrol officer, lieutenant, sergeant, and patrol supervisor. Chief Patton is known for his caring personality, approachable disposition, and of course, his signature smile. The chief is extremely active in the community and can be found at a number of the area's events and gatherings. Michael Patton has spent his career bringing together the people that he has sworn to protect. In 2015, Chief Patton was awarded the Diversity Champion Award by United We Walk for his dedication to supporting diversity in our community and his promotion of unity across Greater West Bloomfield. So when you see Chief Patton around town, shake his hand and talk to him about the community. What you will see is a man that is dedicated to you, which is why Chief Michael Patton is our Person of the Week. And if you know someone who is providing a service to their community, then let us know by sending an email to thesplash@civiccentertv.com. We want to congratulate those who are making a difference in our area, and we appreciate all of your suggestions. And that's going to do it for us this week. But remember, you can watch new episodes of The Splash this summer every other Monday at 6:30 p.m. or throughout the week for replays. You can also watch every episode online at civiccentertv.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at CivicCenterTV, on YouTube at CivicCenterTV15, and on Facebook under CivicCenterTV15 for more information. For all of our friends in Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake, Kego Harbor, and West Bloomfield, I'm Sheena Monnin. Thank you for watching The Splash.